Welcome to My American Dream, a monthly program of Finlandia Foundation National. During this program series, we are interviewing Finnish entrepreneurs who have come to the U.S. chasing their American dream. Finlandia Foundation is a nonprofit philanthropic organization that was established in Pasadena, California in 1953 for the purpose of supporting and celebrating Finnish-American heritage while maintaining ties to contemporary Finland. A major source of private funding for Finnish and Finnish-American cultural activities, Finlandia Foundation awards grants and scholarships and sponsors a variety of programs, from concerts to book talks to webinars and online presentations like My American Dream. To finance the production of its programming, Finlandia Foundation relies on private donations. Please visit our website to find out how you can help.
Hi, I'm Michel Wendell. Welcome to My American Dream. In this program, we're talking to Finnish entrepreneurs who have come to the US in search of their American dream. Today, I have a very special guest with me who is an old friend and who is a very special Finn in that she originally was not really from Finland, but she's very Finnish. So with that, let me welcome Tonxu. So Tonxu's real name is Thuong Tan, and she is in California these days, and I will give it over to her to tell a little bit about her background or her story. Tonxu, over to you.
Thank you so much, Michel and Finlandia Foundation, for inviting me to your series of My American Dream. So as Michel said, you can find me from the official channels as Thuong Tan, but every friend knows me as Tonxu. The name comes from Vietnam. I was born in Saigon. I was 4 when my family immigrated to Finland. Grew up there, went all my school education are from Finland. And I have been in Silicon Valley, California since 2003. And here I am right now. So I would like to always say that I was born in Vietnam, I grew up in Finland, I'm based in Silicon Valley.
Okay, so we know that your family, your parents actually made a very distinct decision to move to Finland. And in your case, you have made a very distinct decision to move away from Finland at some point. What was the driving force for you to move to the US?
Well, my parents, actually my family, were the first Vietnamese refugees in Finland in 1979. So they left Vietnam for the better opportunities for the kids. So for myself to go to the US, it was part of my personality of curiosity. I knew from the very young age that whenever it's possible to travel, to go abroad, to learn new things, to see new people, I was off. I was 7 when I packed my bags and followed my uncle to go to the US when I was 7 years old in it was 1985. And when I got the opportunity to apply for internships after I graduated from my bachelor's degree, and actually US was not my number 1 choice. I was using my background, so I thought my first priority was Hong Kong, because I speak Cantonese, and secondary, my second best language is Vietnam, so I applied for Saigon, and then the third was Silicon Valley. But as Silicon Valley goes, they were the first one to reply to me out of those top 3. So I told my mom that I'm going to go for just a 6-month internship, and I'll see you after 6 months. And here I am after, 17 years and a dual citizenship. I'm still here. My plan was to learn something new and move forward, but as Silicon Valley is such an international melting pot, so you feel like you're meeting new people from different part of the world and cultures, and learn constantly new things and meet new people.
Okay, so in that sense, that decision was made for you originally, but then of course, after you came to do your internship and so forth, you have still sort of made a distinct decision at some point that this is where you want to be, and this is where you want to, obviously, in this situation now, start your own company. How did that sort of come about? Was there a distinct situation when you said that, hey, this is where I want to be, or this is exactly what I want to do, or something like that hit you along the way?
Sure, I probably take a step back how I actually became 17 years here. So I started with the internship with the Finland Trade Center, and then after that I was 2 years working for the Foreign Ministry of Finland, based in the Consulate General of Finland in Los Angeles for 2 years. And then since 2007, I work for the Finnish funding agency called Tekes, and currently Business Finland. So it's a combination of Tekes, Finland's funding agency, plus the trade agency of Finpro became Business Finland. And I've been here for 10 years among the Silicon Valley tech nerds. I say, like, now I find I need to start do my MBA. I'm always interested in branding. And so I took a year off, focusing totally purely on how to brand luxury brandings. And I found a program in Shanghai and Paris. And this idea of my current startup sparked when during the marketing class, teacher said, like, hey, you got 15 minutes, do your 7 Ps of your daily product. So my everyday daily product is, of course, instant noodles. I love eating. And that was 2014. And fast forward when I came back after a year, and I start talking as everybody in Silicon Valley. Someday I have my idea. I would go and explore that. I keep talking and talking until my friends were like, okay, Tonxu, you either stop talking or start doing. And I turned 40 a couple of years ago. It was like, now or never. What do I have to lose? There's still none Instant Noodle 2.0 out there. So I took a leap of faith. And what do you say? They say that they get enough of money to jump out of the plane on a parachute. And I am still on my flight.
You're still on your flight.
Yeah.
And I must say, for full disclosure, I was amongst those who kicked you off the plane. And also, for full disclosure, I'm one of your angel investors, so yes. I have a very personal and private interest in this, but I think that this is more interesting still for everybody else. But now, having been here in the States for as long as you have, has that sort of strengthened you as a Finn? Do you feel like more Finnish, or do you feel less Finnish after all these years here?
Definitely more. So, as I said previously, like, Silicon Valley is such a melting pot. Somebody said that it doesn't matter where you're from, but I actually, in a fan of branding, that's actually one of your differentiators. So for myself, I'm super proud of being from Finland. So when I'm moving around Silicon Valley, I actually bring more about where Finland is. It's less known. And I bring out my other Asian heritage, like Vietnam and Chinese roots, to the food, to the culinary side. But what I am, the way I do my network, the way I work, I would say it's more Finnish than anything else. The famous Finnish Sizzle about the grit and perseverance and not giving up and honesty. That's what brings more Finn out of me than my Asian heritage.
Yeah, well, that was actually going to be one of my questions. That because I know, I can attest to, as can many other people, that you have Sizzle, if somebody has Sizzle, and whether you see that that's something that you have sort of picked up in Finland through osmosis, or is it something that sort of comes in your gene pool? I mean, one can't say that your parents wouldn't have had Sizzle, given all of what they went through just in order to come to Finland. But so, I mean, obviously you feel that you have the real true Finnish Sizzle in you also.
Definitely. For my parents, the chance that they took for us kids to get better opportunities. So I think I'm just so much more appreciative and grateful, and just taking it more chance. Like, hey, they took such a great leap. For me, they didn't have a chance to choose. We were very lucky that we ended up in Finland. But for me, all the chances I had, opportunity just came forward when I was going for my language school. When I was 7th grade, I took off for exchange student year in the US when I was 2nd grade and high school. And then I do an exchange while I was doing my bachelor's in France. And after I graduated, I can go to Silicon Valley. All of this great opportunity that Finland's has given me, I'm just taking it. The amount of opportunities that you are not grabbing, it's probably, I'm just taking it even more of that, and it has taken me so far. I'm just being super grateful of my curiosity, Sizzle or whatnot, just taking all these opportunities in that comes along, and it's been turning out well so far.
It has, and you certainly have been sort of paying back in many ways. I mean, during your times at Business Finland and Tekes, you of course were involved in a bunch of Finnish companies and with Finnish entrepreneurs, helping them in their networking and all of that here on the West Coast in general. So you were down in LA also for a number of years, working at the Consulate General there, as you said. How do you sort of, and maybe from a Finnish or Finnish opportunity perspective, do you see any difference between being down in Los Angeles or being up in the Bay Area?
Yes and no. Well, Los Angeles is the mecca of and city of entertainment, and that's over 10 years ago. And what I have learned along the way, I think you said that my best asset is networking, and still keeping all the network and people that I had met, even past in the 10 years, to this date. So that entertainment industry with movies, actors, studios, it was definitely different comparing to Silicon Valley, but I've been able to mix them and being of my advantage, and to this date, I'm in the food industry. I actually now using back that network to get in touch with the influencers. And even though it was 2 years, it's everything pays off. The time that I took for networking and meeting people and actually keeping in touch has been one of the keys. It's just like not just hi and hello, you put it into your LinkedIn and you forget them. But yeah, after 10 years, you have to keep in touch in order to go back with people that you have met, even though past decades ago.
Yeah. So this whole skill of networking, I know, is one of the things that you have so hard pushed on other Finnish entrepreneurs, that they have to be active and they have to build their network and so forth. What are some of the other things that you, or sort of features, activities, or what have you, that you sort of most frequently have tried to coach other Finns in terms of the do's and the don'ts if they want to be entrepreneurs in this country, or globally for that matter?
Homework, and at these times where you cannot travel, or even back then you can travel, take as much of time to contact the people ahead of the time, because there's so much of these Facebook groups or people or the network, like the communities, Nordic Innovation House. Contact them first and ask for advice, ask for beforehand who you should talk to, what is going on, when should I come, when is the right time. The amount of time that you spend of doing homework before you fly over to another time zone, it so much pays off, because the timing and the time is the most precious here in Silicon Valley. And you usually can be here only for a week or two, so use that wisely. Using that wisely is like prepare well ahead before you come here. Like, who should you meet? What are the networks? What are the meetups that you should go to? But today is not a meetup. But back then, I couldn't underline more. Like, please contact people ahead of time and ask them advice, like what they did and whatnot. Yeah, I couldn't underline more of the networking and knowing and using the networks of either the Finns here or the Nordic communities here, and they're gladly to help.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen much of a sort of change or development in the Finnish entrepreneurs over your 10 plus years here in the market?
It's good flow, definitely. I remember when I started, we were keeping in track how many Finnish entrepreneurs companies were here. It started with like 7 and dozen, and one time the combination of other Nordic startups were just like combining. So all of the total of Nordics were enough for just the Finns. So the Finns were one part very active. There were the most Finnish startups in Silicon Valley. At that point was very proud, and still proud. Nordic is the Nordics. And I think bit of decline given that what we're living at right now. But it's steady. It's always been hard, I would say. So this is no questions asked. Like they say, they compare it to the NHL of ice hockey or the Olympics of entrepreneurship. So it's a tough game. To come here is one thing, but to stay here and to strive here, it's a totally different level. That's actually measures who you are. Whether it's not a sprint, it's like the whole marathon. You have to keep fueling yourself to stay in the game.
It's a marathon at sprint speed. That's what it ends up being.
Right.
But great. So speaking of sprints and marathons, well, of course you have run marathons yourself, but now you have your own business marathon sprint going in Noodelist. So tell us a little bit about what Noodelist is, how it came about, and where you want to take it.
So Noodelist first. So the original story is I'm an Asian born and I don't eat rice. And I grew up in Finland and I don't eat potatoes. And I'm based in Silicon Valley. Everybody goes for burritos. I'm like, I'm going for my noodles. And then the idea actually came about when I was doing my MBA in 2014. And I came back, I realized none of my friends were eating instant noodle. And I asked them why. And they say, well, we would if you make them plant-based, boost up the protein, put some more fiber, lower the sodium, take out the palm oil. I'm like, easy. There was actually none, because I had my favorite brands and Asian brands, so I didn't have any problems of keep eating my instant noodles. So none of my friends are eating. So that sparked the Noodelist, plant-based instant noodles, which is first and foremost good taste, better for you, good to eat in the same 5 minutes, easy to make, and good for the planet. So not in those environmentally bad styrofoam cups. And the 5G is like guarantee instant happiness. So when you're filled with food, what else can you be then put the smile on your face? And I started it in 2019, thanks to all the trust and from family, friends, and fantastic angels. And we pre-launched during the pandemic, 2020, and it was just a great kickoff. I didn't wish for the pandemic, but for our type of the products, shelf-stable, easy to eat, easy to make, good taste. And it was a great time for us to validate the minimal viable product. Or these days, they call it, make the minimal lovable product. And people keep ordering, so we obviously have done quite a lovable product out there and keep striving.
Yeah. Well, happy customer right here. I eat lots of them, and I didn't actually eat very much noodles in the past. In terms of the stage of the company, where can people get Noodelist today? How can somebody that's listening to this or watching this, how can they get their hands on a package?
Oh, these days, of course, direct from our website, of course, www.noodelist.com. You probably have it later on this video clip. And we have a few of the local stores here in Menlo Park and Palo Alto. It's called Namesake Cheesecake is one, and another is the Willows Market. And yeah, the direct from our website is one of the best because you can find our sample option that we have 2 flavors, bold and juicy shiitake, and then lemongrass vegan chicken. None of the chicken has been harmed, so it's good for vegan as well. And you can start with our sample box, and then usually they like it so much that their next order will be the survival box that we launch during the pandemic that will last you for a month, and you keep ordering it more. And we're constantly getting new channels out during this and next month and during this year.
Cool. So is the plan for you to actually have them in stores over time, or are you thinking more about the direct model?
Actually, being small, so taking what the others has done well right now, direct, and then actually the other e-commerce grocery stores like Farmstead App, Good Eggs, and Thrive. What they have not, those are our secondary, and then just starting it locally. More of the mom and pop stores around this Bay Area that we are right now. And then we have also found a great partnership with corporates. My original idea as a sales channel is what goes direct to those tech companies, since they already have their snacks available free by the employers. But now everybody is working from home, and the employers still have the coffee budget aside, like, So I pick up the phone, contact the HR, the director of culture. Hey, you should show some appreciation to your employees and send them a so-called care package. And that has been a great new channels for us to sell to the corporate. And they send it to their employees. And that's good sales channels, also good marketing for a new brand that's trying to get the direct-to-consumer brand out there. Yeah. So clearly one of the things that you sort of indirectly here mention is that you, when it comes to your distribution, you have done something that in the entrepreneur world is called a pivot, in that you changed direction and you sort of admitted that whatever you had thought in the past didn't really work, so need to change and do something different. And that is, of course, one of the great trademarks of good entrepreneurs that actually can do that. Is this something that you see as being sort of problematic somehow for Finns, given that Finns have a little bit of a hard time of maybe admitting that they have done something wrong, and certainly the culture there has been less sort of forgiving for somebody who didn't make it on the first time, or who didn't succeed, or something like that. Do you sort of agree with that, or what's your views on it? I did. Actually, my previous job was to tell the entrepreneurs do this and that, and now I am taking my own medicine on the other side of the table. Oh boy, it was so much easier to tell them what to do. But I actually did, I almost did the same mistake of trying to finalize our product, more specifically the packaging, to be ready, but it was never going to be ready. And thanks to one of the investors, he was like, you're making food, and your food part is ready, just put it out and validate. So that was my finished part of, actually, I delayed the soft launch. Being a Finn, like, oh, it's not ready. It will never be ready. And then I look back a year ago, the packaging, I'm using none of it. I'm just using a super simple one. And actually, when I said we soft launch, I like to use an analogy that our product is a baby who just had a diaper on. We kicked it out, tried the taste, the pricing, if it works. And surprisingly, the feedback from the consumers were like, we love the packaging. And we were like, this kid actually doesn't have any clothing on yet, so there's no packaging yet. So what a great savings and get feedback. Like it was something totally different that we thought. Well, I was probably doing by the book of MBA luxury branding. Everything has to be in perfectly. But it was the other way. The luxury these days is sustainable. You're not using much of materials or plastic to make your product to stand out. So yeah, in that term, I always was my Finn, but now I learned that nothing is going to be ready. So put it out, try it out, get the feedback. You always have to make it better, improve, and so forth. So yeah, that one I'm going to underline for the Finns. Just get it out there. Just whatever you do, get it out there. Nothing to lose.
And it's never going to be perfect.
Exactly.
That's just the way things are.
Progression over perfection, I have learned from one of the mentors. And that actually has guided me on a lot of the decision makings.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I want to, Tonxu, thank you very much for coming out and sharing your thoughts and your story with your fellow Finns here in the US. And for those of you who want to check out the Noodelist story more, go to Tonxu's LinkedIn or website or what have you, and then we will see you all again in our next episode with another fresh Finnish entrepreneur. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you very
Tonxu.
much.